Well, welcome to Thought for the Day. First, I'd just like to thank all of you who've sent me messages of sympathy, offers of help. I just feel I've been incredibly well looked after ever since people started to hearing that I've had this positive test for COVID. I've not been very well, but I think I'm quite hopeful. I've now got to day 6 without having any of the sort of particularly serious or dangerous symptoms. So I'm very hopeful that it is going to be a relatively mild bout, even though for the last few days I've not really not had much in the way of energy and suffering from headache and so on. So it's not been easy. The That's also the reason why there is no video on this. I've not been getting up. I didn't want to spend the energy to get myself respectable enough to be videoed. But hopefully you can hear the sound, and there's a picture in the background. And I was very keen to do Thought for the Day because I was really struck by what Terry said on Monday about freedom. And I want to sort of endorse everything he said. And I'd really just want to take it a little bit deeper and press this question of freedom just a little bit deeper, just for a couple of minutes now, by asking the question, why is freedom so important? Why do we need to be free? And I guess the question there is, what is enslaving us? What is it that stops us from being free, that we need to be set free from? And I guess probably the answer we'd give in some ways is we need to be set free from being controlled by other people, controlled by people who don't act in our interest. Maybe we feel at the moment we want to be free from a lazy or incompetent government who makes rules to protect its own reputation. Maybe more seriously, there are some of us who want to be set free from an abusive relationship, someone who claims to love us but actually acts in their interest, not ours. Maybe others need to be just long to be set free from some contract we wish we hadn't got into, maybe an extortionate Bright House contract for furniture you can't afford, or a Wonga loan, or whatever the 2020 equivalents are of those businesses of 2 or 3 years ago. And it is right that we should want to be set free from those being controlled by others. But the Bible says that the power we need first to be set free from is not outside us at all, but inside us, in our own desires. And it is actually, of course, those desires that make us vulnerable to the powers of others. The desire to be loved, to be valued in some way, is, of course, what gives the abuser his power. And the desire for others to think you've got a nice house, or just the desire for others not to know that you're a bit hard up, is what got you into that Bright House contract in the first place. And just the desire for everyone to think well of us is what leads us to just to tell those half truths, to twist the truth so that people don't see our weaknesses, so that we can proclaim how holy we are, promise what we know in our hearts we probably can't deliver. It's those desires which lead us to being trapped into other things. And so the freedom we need is not the freedom we think we need. We think we need the freedom. We think we need to be set free to do exactly what we want, and that will be utter freedom. But actually, we need to be set free from doing exactly what we want. Set free from doing exactly what we want in order to be free to do exactly what we were made for. And Terry used yesterday the example of wearing masks. And to be honest, I don't think that's much of an issue here. I don't see many people around who are resisting wearing masks. There was a little bit a few months ago. It's kind of a non-issue here. I know it's a big issue in the States for certainly for some groups. But let's just stay with that one for a moment. What leads us not to want to wear a mask? Is it the feeling, I just don't want to look like that? That looks ugly. It looks inhuman. Looks wrong. And that feeling, I don't want to look like that, is what leads us trapped in the frustration. Well, I should do this, but I don't want to. But if we can grasp the truth that God thinks I'm beautiful on the inside, and actually what I look like on the outside doesn't matter all that much, then I'm free to do the thing that will actually benefit others. Or maybe it's a feeling of what right have they got? I don't want to be ordered around by a bunch of hypocrites who there's one rule for the powerful, one rule for the rest of us. But if that's what constrains us, then we're not free at all. We're constrained, we're trapped by our own feelings into doing what will actually put others at risk. But if I recognize that anger, that resentment inside me, and I remember that actually, well, judging others is really above my pay grade. God's quite capable of doing that. God will judge utterly, justly, and rightly. Then I'm set free not only to do the right thing, but actually to feel peace inside about it while I'm doing it. And of course, Jesus is the perfect example of that freedom, isn't he? I mean, if you look at him, you see, no one who ever lived was more free than Jesus was. Fearless, utterly fearless in speaking up for the weak and the powerless, utterly free to say the right thing, fearless in challenging those who abused their power, because he wasn't a slave to his own desires. If he'd still been a slave to the things he wanted, the things which made him feel nice, then they could have twisted, manipulated him, offered him things. You see it when the devil tempted him. 40 days and no food, you must be feeling hungry. Jesus was free to do the right thing because he'd experienced that freedom, not the freedom to do exactly what he wanted, but being set free from doing exactly what he wanted so that he could do exactly what he was made for. And of course, we see it most of all at the end, don't we? He had every opportunity to avoid the cross, to run away from doing the thing that would save the world. But he wasn't a slave to fear, to fear of death. He wasn't a slave to fear of pain. He was set free from doing exactly what would make him comfortable, utterly free to do the right thing. And of course, what he achieved there earned a freedom for us that nothing can take away. May you enjoy some of that freedom today.